So we talk about when in these different areas, skin, gut, respiratory, sinus, what's in the way, because the body was made to heal itself. Your body's always regenerating, making new cells. What is in the way of your body healing itself? And then the second piece is, then what does it need? How do we direct the healing? So what's in the way of healing and what is needed? But you can't get a successful, complete healing if you don't get rid of what's in the way. So one of the quotes on my office, if you walk into my treatment room, on the wall, it's funny, people will see it, maybe they don't see it right away, but like they'll ask, is that new? No, not new. I have a Hippocrates, who was the father of modern medicine. He died in like 370 BC, so it's been a while. But he says, before you heal someone, ask if he's willing to give up the things that make him sick. And so this is part of the cultural part of our lifestyle. The foods we eat, the things we drink, the things we put in our body are so much driven by convenience, and they're not the quality that our body needs. To make healthy cells, we need these things to be available and easy to extract. We need things that doesn't make it harder for our body to heal, doesn't create other imbalances, which I'm going to talk about here in a bit. But having those resources available, those 20 amino acids that are needed to make up the collagen and elastin protein, all of those available, are we getting those in, right? And so, but a lot of people, because of, you can find anybody on the internet to agree with you, whatever your thing is. Like, I've had people come in and tell me that they want to know what I think about the potato diet. I'm like, well, I don't know what that is. Like, well, you just eat potatoes. I'm like, well, I can tell you I'm not a fan. One thing is never going to be good. But also, that one thing, I don't know. People will, because you can find someone on the internet who will agree with you. So it's kind of like you have to use your, some common sense filter as well, because I'm sure you guys hear kind of crazy stuff too, people that are doing, all kinds of stuff, who knows what. And you're just like, wow, I don't know. That's a new one for me, but so we talk a lot about what people shouldn't eat. We also want to talk about what they should be eating, right? And inviting that conversation, because it gets overwhelming because there's so much information out there. And again, who you follow, podcasts. You guys probably don't listen. You probably do all the social stuff. I don't do any of that. All the TikTok, I don't know what else is out there. I don't know what's out there. I don't do it.
Social media.
Yeah, there you go. That doesn't date me as much. All the things that are coming into people, like they're seeing it too, you're seeing it, they're seeing it, and so they have all kinds of maybe misinformation about what's actually useful, beneficial for their body. And like I said, they can find anyone to agree with anything. So it's kind of like using judgment, and so having some things to kind of filter through, like is this beneficial? Is this going to be helpful? Is this healing? Because we always want to be giving our body the things it needs to heal and repair itself. So, I would say the things that I find the most disruptive to people's body, like food-wise, I know like for a while I read that gluten was like the enemy. It's not. It's probably one of the lesser foods that I see is gluten. Probably if they have hormonal issues with skin, I would say probably is across the board is soybean products, which are. It's like in everything, exactly. It's a cheap product, it's subsidized by the US government, they have heaps of it, and so they put it in a lot of things. And you have to be a savvy consumer, because companies that you've used for a long time can change ingredients without letting you know. They don't have to let you know that they changed their oil or their whatever, right? sure you guys see that too in your product lines. So like I bought the same peanut butter forever, and it's a natural peanut butter. Again, marketing's super clever. And yet they had soybean oil, because soy is technically a plant, so they can call it natural because it's, I'm not sure what the qualifications are, but they're very loose, we'll just say that. And so they can put whatever they want on the marketing label, and so, but soybean oil in my peanut butter. Why is it not just peanuts and salt? I mean, peanuts have an oil. Why do they extract this oil and dump in soybean oil and then sell it to somebody else for more money, I'm sure. And so now we have things in our food that we didn't intend to. So being a savvy consumer, but also like alerting your clients if they have hormone changes to their skin, melasma. Soy is a phytoestrogen, and it disrupts the estrogen and progesterone balance in your body, and they don't even know they're doing it. Like, that's probably the biggest thing, let alone some of the other things they're choosing to do if they're using, different birth controls that are hormone emitting, and whether we're talking, pellets, patches, creams, pills, I mean, all of it. So they're getting a lot more of that imbalance in their hormone ratio. So if you're seeing hormone things, off all soy, but just they're alerting their awareness to it. I mean, they're probably gonna come in and go, well, that's everything. So a lot of things that are
But I feel like even if you reduce that significantly.
yes, just any change, right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, but that would be the the biggest thing when it comes. Try it. You come tell me where you're finding what you found as alternatives, because they exist. You just have to know. Like, if you don't know, and you just shop your regular shop and you go, mayonnaise, first ingredient, soybean oil. They make ones that aren't, but you have to know that that's what you're looking for, and those are simple swaps to make that people just don't even know, because there are some that are, there's some that are really expensive. You can pay a lot more for if you buy it at, Whole Foods or Sprouts, or you can pay this less for the same product just somewhere else. You just have to know that that's what you're looking for, right? But it exists. So, but it shouldn't cost so much more to have food less messed with, but somehow I don't know, it does. So, other inflammatory skin things that aren't hormonal, it like things like keratosis pilaris. I don't know, you guys see a lot of that, right? It's dairy. It's almost always dairy, which I know is like, heartbreak. It's all the milks, creams, sour cream, ice cream, the resurgence of everybody likes cottage cheese again.
I was gonna say, is cheese like a hardcore dairy?
How
cottage cheese is?
So
I feel like
no, that's a good question.
different kinds of cheeses
Yeah.
are more
Right. So goat cheese
question.
is good. It doesn't taste the same, but the goat cheeses are fine. Sheep cheeses are more common.
Goat cheese.
You can find some sheep cheeses that mimic
cheese.
Fire.
And goat milk.
Last night was good.
Oh.
Peanut chips.
There you go. So that's safe. But you.
I don't deal with that issue, but I'm just
Okay.
curious.
Yeah. No. That's a great question.
Well,
In case
you know
you
what I'm
forget.
saying, like cream cheese is different than like freaking hard cheese.
Yeah, it is. You're
Yeah.
right. And I'm not a cheesemaker, but from the process that I've experienced, the more that something is aged, the more the sugars are consumed, and so you have what's left is the whey product. So some people.
Jesus, I would not be willing to do that.
Well, if you had a skin condition that was really,
That's true.
you gotta have to weigh it out, right? So I don't know, or some other things.
I'll deal with little babies.
That's why we go back to the Hippocrates quote: "Are you willing to give up the thing that's making you sick?" Some people it's no, and that's their choice, right? And you just have to honor that and be like, okay, well. But if they keep coming back to you and complaining about the same thing, you're like, well, yeah, so let's maybe revisit the thing that's in the way. It's a common conversation that we have. Yep, still that thing. But yeah, so there is a spectrum in the dairy, and when we test in the office, we test the sugars versus the proteins versus the fats to see if we can I don't know if people have to give up what they have to give up, because it's hard enough. It's hard enough. So we try to be thoughtful in that and give them what's really necessary. Yeah, and it's, I mean, again, and like you all have these various sizes of cups, right? So that's the same, like our capacity for inflammation is all genetically varied. We don't, like, that's a component we don't get to control. Some of us have these big giant, and some of us have these little thimbles. I mean, and there's no, but if you're always at the top of your capacity for inflammation, it's cumulative. It accumulates until it reacts, and then your immune system kind of gets it under control, and then it accumulates, and then it gets under control, and so you kind of have these cycles of flare. But if you can just lower the how much they're dealing with on a regular basis, whether it's giving up half the amount of dairy or soy or whatever, you're keeping them lower in their inflammatory response, so you can keep it more managed. Because we want people to be able to go on vacation and have, go anniversary or whatever it is they want to do, and not stay in cycles of flare. So you can keep inflammation, down in this range, then they can have, they have some flexibility. But if you say if somebody has like, especially if they have like a two primaries, like dairy and sugar, you said ice cream. This is like if you're going for ice cream, like you have to know there's going to probably be some kind of response, right? It's gonna show up. So you can just make the choice, but you kind of like I think you can't go, oh, I wonder what's wrong with me. I mean, no, I had ice cream, like that's right? I mean, but so there's the importance of the immune system for that. First and foremost is that shield, and we're going to talk about how to strengthen that, how to repair that. But getting what's in the way out is really the first step. So even if patients with me don't go and do supplements right away, which is totally fine, just getting it out of the way or minimizing that response can allow the body to start to recover on its own. It's a slower process, but it's possible if they're getting some stuff out of the way. So that's the first reason we want to address the immune response. The second is that if your shield is always being overwhelmed and you're always having these reactions, your capacity to heal and repair is diminished. You can't turn those cells over like you should be, okay? So talking about like always making new cells. When you have an overwhelmed immune system, that's a slower, sluggish process. So people will start to, in their skin, they'll have less turnover. They start to age faster because they are not replacing those cells at the rate they should. Our other organs and glands are the same thing. So they start to have a diminished function. So we start to see changes in the ability to, the biggest one probably, I would say, that especially that would relate to skin and what you guys deal with is the gallbladder. First of all, lots of people don't have them anymore. Right. This is very, very common. I'm not sure what the percentage is, but I have girls coming into high school that have already had it taken out, and I'm like, what? You need a gallbladder. If you don't have one, you're going to have to take something to emulsify your fats when you eat. Super important. So, going back to, so the gallbladder itself is just a little purse. It holds the bile, your liver makes it, the gallbladder holds it until you need it, which if you're eating healthy fats should be regularly throughout your day. If you don't have that there, you're relying on your liver, who does over 300 functions to stay with the program. It doesn't happen very well. So your body does not digest your fats to be utilized for that acid mantle, for the repair of the skin and all the things that we want it to do. But you also have the negative effect of just storing it. If you can't break it down, your body will just store it, which is not what most people want. Men have different storage patterns than women. Men tend to put it in the midsection. Women put it, a little lower. And people coming in that want to lose weight, it's like, and then on the gall, it's first like question on my form: do you have all of your organs, right? And I would say, I don't know. With women, I'd say probably half of my patients don't have gallbladder. It's like how do so you can't do some of these things. So if your patient or your client is having, skin barrier issues, has been eating healthy fats, and they don't have a gallbladder, like they are not going to be getting the benefit of all of those things, right? Because they can't break it down, they can't utilize it, and so it's probably one of the biggest issues in what I do and in what you do, is that they don't have a gallbladder. So
would that be like an excessive like sensitivity, like their skin is really reactive to things, or what would that look like as far as?
it could be because it doesn't have that barrier, that strong lipid barrier. They probably have really dry skin as well, because the fat helps hold in the moisture. So I don't know, you guys tell me, what would you see?
I feel like it's more crepey in a sense. And then I noticed that they have more hyperpigmentation, but I don't know if that's just because they don't wear sunscreen normally, so that could be it. But
It's probably happening.
Yeah, so that's what I noticed, and that it's dry, very dry, and the elasticity, like, it's just not there.
They don't have it.
No, it's just like you could poke it and it's like you could just go straight in, you know, if that makes sense.
There's no resistance. There's no
like no bounce
No
back. Yes, yeah.
They don't have those collagen elastin fibers that create that resistance. So all of that, so super important for having your body to regenerate your cells, right? So we're talking about like externally, I mean, the things people see, but also the things that we don't see. So the internal things. This is where a lot of hormone dysregulation, and when, you know, and I don't just mean, I do, yes, progesterone and estrogen, but you actually have a lot, like your thyroid hormone, and I know that gets tested a lot, your TSH, your thyroid stimulating hormone, but that is just like one part of this really, really dynamic, kind of looks like a 3D spider web. Like the endocrine network is vast, and it includes organs and glands that have dual purposes. So yes, your pituitary and thyroid, it contains your pancreas, which is also a digestive organ, your liver, which is a detoxifying organ, your duodenum, which is part of your small intestines, which is where some of your biome lives, your immune system, like it has a lot of dual organs in that endocrine or that hormone organ network. And so really, really important. So if people come in and their hormones are off, which I get a lot of people say that, my hormones are off. Like it's not a one size fits all. It's kind of like we have to follow the thread, right? We often see the effects. We'll see their skin, hyperpigmentation, different changes in their, you know, in their sleep patterns or their hot flashes, temperature regulations, like that. But those are all symptoms of the problem is somewhere the imbalance in that network. And some of those organs and glands are they're stimulators, and some of them are inhibitors. And so all of those working together. And so where do you start? So that's why it can kind of like, it's not just like do this, that'll fix it, because it's not that simple. It's with women, it's never that simple. It's always
I did a full panel because I thought it was like my hormones are so bad. I'll get like, for years, waves of nausea just all the time, not on birth control anymore. I had been breastfeeding but wasn't anymore. So I was like, I think my hormones are jacked from like being a year, 2 years postpartum. Everything was like, oh, it looks great. Like it's all within range. It was at like a med spa, so it was like more specific, not just like, it could be range from 50 to 250 and you're like at a really high end or low end. She was like, your levels look great. Your thyroid's a little bit low, but other than that, like literally had 0 answers. And you're like, great. Cool. 5 years later, still get nauseous all the time, randomly. And it's like, we're doing great.
Right. So some things function-wise isn't.
But it's like specifically at a panel, not even like at the doctor's office. But like,
you get a more in-depth, a more specialized. I mean, I have people come in with whole notebooks of like really specific and specialized. They've been in Mayo Clinic. They've like looked at all they have been fully evaluated, right? And they're still having problems. So
I'm still freaking lactating after I haven't nursed for 4 years. Like why? Like that's so weird. Doctor say that's normal.
Morgan, come lay on that table.
Yeah.
Just lay on the table.
My business, I didn't sell my milk.
Right, put it on my
Yeah. Something is not connected. I don't know what, but it'll be
Give away.
But it'll be interesting. I'm telling you, you're gonna be amazed. I mean, I would be so curious if that's not a factor in there.
I'm already looking at all the things, like my protein shakes, less than 1% soy.
Yeah, but I see a lot of, like, because it's in a lot of the, like, you know, because like people are coming in, you know, again, it's things cycle through social media. You know, what's popular, like people come in, like obviously parasites, or, you know, people are talking about, because I'll come in, everybody's asking about parasites. I'm like, or everybody's asking about, you know, protein and macros, and so it cycles through, right? But I've seen a lot of people like, my trainer wants me to be eating 150 grams of protein a day. I'm like, okay, well that's a lot. And how do you do that unless you're supplementing with something that has these isolates, these soy isolates? Because to eat like food that has that much protein in a day, it would be like your full-time job. Like you would be chewing all the time. Like you'd be like, no, not gonna happen. Never gonna eat 150 grams of beef and chicken. Like no, nobody would be like, yeah, let's do that.
Boiled eggs.
Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot of boiled eggs. So, and then tomorrow you would do it again. So, I mean, so a lot of the food is being formulated to have high protein, but at the expense of it being a synthetic product. Yeah.
How long do you need to like cut something out before you would see like a
Change.
change?
I mean, I have people that see a difference in 48 hours, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, was it really that simple?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, it can be." For more complex cases, the function may be so low, right? So the first job is shield, get some stuff out of the way. Second job, heal and repair. Like we may have to do more of that because they've been in this state for a while, you know, decade, and so it's going to take a little longer. But usually within 2 weeks of a specific, and I'm going to talk about specific supplements, targeted for them to guide that healing. Because any kind of healing, we're talking about physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever, the order always matters, and the order is different for everybody. And so the body has the ability to tell us what has to happen first. Because if I lay something on this table and you've got, and when I start with a patient, it's not uncommon to have like 12 things show up. Does not mean that we are going to address all 12, and certainly not today. Usually there's one or two that are the key that unlocks the next thing. And maybe that one or two actually fixes a majority, like everything else was just in a state of, just overwhelmed and trying to compensate. The body is so incredible at compensating until it's not. And then, you know, like, so these organs and glands are kind of losing their function. So somewhere between healthy and sick is a timeline. Healthy and when it would show up in a lab, a scan, get some sort of like diagnoses, right? It's over here. But it doesn't happen overnight. Although I know you hear those stories, oh, they were perfectly healthy and then they had a heart attack. I'm like, well, obviously they were not perfectly healthy. It just happened. But, on the outside it maybe it looked like, but function was being diminished over time because they were not healing and repairing. They were not. So healthy cells start to become outnumbered by those unhealthy, fragmented, because the immune system is a healthy immune system versus your shield. Second of all, is that internal scanner. What cells need to be repaired, replaced, destroyed? What's my turnover? Because different organs and glands have different, your cells live for different, like your stomach cell, like stomach lining, they live for like 3 to 5 days. Your red blood cells live for 90. So they're in different cycles. So as your body is regenerating, it depends on which organ gland we're working on, how quickly they heal, how quickly it repairs, and does it have what it needs. So our purpose in giving those specific supplements are to help activate that process, come alongside it in the order that it needs to happen, because the order matters. The third job of the immune system is in the world of epigenetics, and all that means is the activation of potential disease genes. So everybody in here has a genetic DNA imprint from your parents, your grandparents, so your lineage. So you have a set of DNA, and you have a set of potential diseases that you could have. Certain, they run in families, right? Because there's a genetic aspect to a lot of these lifestyle diseases. A healthy immune system that has a strong shield, is healing and repairing and keeping cells in the life cycle they're supposed to be in, keeps genes turned off. So think of it as like you have a genetic deck of cards, and a healthy immune system keeps all those cards in the deck. But an unhealthy immune system cannot keep them all in, and so things get activated, diseases get activated. Oftentimes people will say, I was just diagnosed with whatever. I'll say, when did you start having problems? There's usually some big stress event in their life. Now maybe it was external, like move, job, divorce, something, or maybe it's internal. Illness, COVID did this a lot. It activated a lot of big illnesses, or surgery is another one. So the immune system gets overwhelmed and it activates, it plays one of these cards. And so a healthy immune system can keep these in the deck, and it can put them back in the deck. Some does not every disease, but a lot of it can. And so that's what happened to me. So kind of going back to how I started, I really inflamed, right? And then my friend saying, you clearly have to deal with this. And I'm like, how? I'm gonna go through the process and I'm gonna show you. But it was almost like it's like I unzipped this inflammation suit and stepped out. Like it changed so many things for me, but it was visible. It was like I had a lot of skin issues, a lot of inflammatory skin issues. I had keratosis pilaris, because guess what one of mine is? But I can have real butter. Nature's frosting, so but I have a lot of them, and my husband has none, so we kind of balance out. But I had about 40 pounds on me that I do now, and all I gave up was inflammatory foods. Like I worked out way more then than I do now when I was trying to battle these 35, 40 pounds. But it was like I unzipped the suit, and then here I am, and it changed everything. I haven't had a flare up with my back in, I don't know now, but since I started maybe I had one small one since then, but it's been over 10 years. But I was dealing with this several times a year, right? Where I'm trying to adjust patients and I can't even stand up all the way. I'm like sweating because it hurts so bad, like that kind of pain. It was horrible. And so I was willing to give up whatever I had to give up. Yeah, I like things too. But the good news is they make alternatives for almost everything now. It's even easier to find. Halo Top has some great ice creams. Talenti has some great dairy-free ice cream. There's a lot of options, so you don't have to because this isn't just a give up for a little while. This is a lifestyle change, right? Just like they don't come to you one time and their skin is magical after that, right? They're gonna have to do some maintenance and some things.
Be consistent at home.
And exactly. They can't just come to you and be like, okay, I'm fixed. No. It's like you got to do this. You got to do your part, right? And so it's the change that comes over time. And so I'm almost out. I'll turn 50 in just a few months. And when I first started this, I was almost 40 when this happened. So over time, I've seen other women my age.
Yes, please.
But tell him he's disruptive.
Colby's just so loud.
I have met Colby.
Unfortunate.
He's a loud person.
What are you talking
So for myself, it changed everything. And my autoimmune, so I have autoimmune thyroid, Hashimoto's. So basically my immune system was attacking my thyroid. Like you, I went on the medication and my numbers looked great, but I felt like crap. But my hair was falling out, my nails wouldn't grow, my skin was like I could just sheet peel it off. I was stuck with these 40 pounds, but I looked great. Like, we clearly have different definitions of that. So like, that wasn't getting me where and I didn't even know that wasn't really, I mean, when I started this, it was my back that was the most obvious inflammation was affecting me, my musculoskeletal system, but it was affecting my whole body. And so once it took time, it's taken a decade, but those things, turned back. So now I'm like technically in remission, or maybe I really wasn't Hashimoto's to begin with, whatever, I don't care what they call it. I don't have to deal with it anymore, so yay. So whatever, so the card, maybe not all the way back in the deck, because if I went back to those things that the time, I mean, I grew up on, my mom did what she could with what she knew, so not throwing her under the bus, but we were raised on fat-free, sugar-free everything, because she didn't want us to be fat, so we couldn't eat fat, which is not true, by the way, just to clarify. So we ate all the sweeteners, all the things that were chemically, altered to be fat-free. And so, so it's like, as much as we want to talk about what not to eat, we want to talk about what to eat. Eat real food. So if you look at the back of your container and it has like hyphenated word number things, don't choose something else, right? Right, things you can't pronounce, they sound like a chemistry test, don't eat it, right? I mean, eat real food and eat like a variety, eat colors, like the color of food, like there's whole, I don't want to bore everybody, but there's like really fascinating things on the color of food and the things that our bodies need. Eating seasonally is also, a lot, it's kind of coming back the farm to table, like, at least maybe not from that farm to that table, but like a network of restaurants and things like that are really, and food co-ops and all these different things that you can be a part of, or bringing farmers market, things like that, bringing food, that eating seasonally and what our body needs to prepare for the season, the colds and flus and whatever people are already talking about, whatever flu strand, whatever. Oh, okay. But eating things like this time of year, pumpkin is really, and I'm not talking like Starbucks pumpkin. I'm talking like real pumpkin. I don't actually know what's in their pumpkin. I have no idea, but it's a lot of sugar. A lot of sugar. But pumpkin seeds have high zinc in them, and zinc is essential to fight off all the stuff that comes, the colds, the flus, the COVID, whatever, like all of that. Zinc is like one of the best things for your immune system, right? And as a food, so this is a good time to talk about supplements. So as a food, it comes with all the cofactors, coenzymes, active ingredients to be used by your body and not have to work hard to extract that. Most supplements on the market are synthetic, meaning they are made in a lab, mostly by pharmaceutical companies, and the problem with it is they are, they only contain, everything's made in a lab, so they can't mimic nature. And they are usually, a tell, if you're looking at a supplement bottle, is the amount, the percentage, okay? If it has 16,000% of your daily recommended value in this one little tablet, that does not happen in nature. You do not find 16,000%. And it's a very specific, it's like, ascorbic acid, as it says vitamin C, but in parentheses it's ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid is only one part of the C complex, okay? It is like a car has lots of parts, right? Some are more important than others. Ascorbic acid is like the paint on the car. Like it's, it's part of the car, but it's not the active. So what happens is the body then has to go find those other resources to make that C that you're taking 16,000%. The reason you take high amounts is because you only absorb a fraction, because your body has to go find those other ingredients to make it useful. That creates other imbalances in the body. So a lot of the research if maybe you've seen articles that are like free radicals, or some like supplements cause free radicals, which cause cancer. Well, they're researching synthetics, not food-based supplements. Food-based supplements are exactly that. They come from food. They aren't made in a lab. They're grown, in the ground. Hopefully, organic, or organic principles, if not full. But 99% of the vitamins that people are taking, because they are from that synthetic chemistry, and a lot of them are actually made from petroleum byproducts, which is a whole other thing, but you don't want that. That's all I'm saying. So I would say you want the concentrated foods and plants that are really just, all that's been removed is the water and the pulp. Same thing with herbals, right? You want things that are remain active in the state that you're taking them or using them, because then they actually have that rebalancing, that therapeutic effect that you're taking them for. So we also don't want the body to have to work hard to find all the elements that make that particular product useful. So when we work with, as we work with patients, we are using a food-based supplement line. It's been around for 95 years. It's from a farm in Wisconsin. You can go tour it. It's maybe the best lunch you've ever had. Everything grown there on their farm. And then the herbal, and their sister herbal line. And then I use another herbal. I have a couple herbal lines that I use because I know that I trust the quality. There are other companies out there. Standard Process is not the only one. That's just the one that I use. I trust it. Like I said, they've never had a safety recall in 95 years. I mean, like, it's unheard of. Companies from around the world come there to witness their true organic farming because it's large scale, and they're like, how does this how's this even work? And so they're part of re-educating the large scale farming community about this is possible, and you don't have to use genetically modified seed, you don't have to use all these chemicals, so it's possible, right? So what we use, and that's the reason that we use them, because of that. But there are other companies out there, but this is what I use. And as the body starts to heal and we start to make those healthy cells and that timeline, like we talked about, healthy to sick, we start to move back towards that healthy state. We don't have to stay on the same things forever and ever and ever. I'll have people come in, they're like, well, I've been on a probiotic for 10 years. And I'm like, what's wrong with your gut that you can't keep a healthy bacteria alive? And they just sort of look at me like, well, I don't know. I mean, isn't it good? Isn't it good to be on this? Maybe, but probably not if you're still having problems and coming in to see me and you've been on a probiotic for 10 years. It's probably not the right probiotic, or there's some other stuff going on. So we start from the beginning. What's in the way, and what do we need to heal and repair? And it should change. As we're moving back towards that healthy state, what you're taking should change, right? Now, if you don't have a gallbladder, you're always going to need one we say you need a gallbladder in a bottle. Now, we have a couple of variations. It depends on what each patient needs. But if we're working on a gut biome, we don't want to be on the same varietal of probiotic. We may move through several because you actually have, a lot of different bacteria in your gut to have a healthy biome, healthy balance that keep the fungus, and that you need all of those things so one doesn't fit everybody. But I think this is interesting. So one Z-Pack, right? Whatever they have 3 days now. They have 3 or 5 days now. If you take one of those, to have your gut repopulate on its own, it takes 10 years. Right? I mean, how many people are going to go 10 years between taking an antibiotic? Very, very few. Just rare. So, and you think of people that have been on, and you're maybe a lot younger, and so, but there was a generation, kids that were younger than me, but mid to late 80s, where it was ear infections were antibiotic, on repeat, and these kids, and it's just destroys their guts. When the problem is probably what they're eating. So with kids with ear infections, it's most of the time it's dairy or soy. and that's what usually is the formula that they're consuming. And it's keeping their immune system from being able to be that strong shield, and so they're just suffering. So it doesn't really matter what's creating it. The problem is the immune system is not responding, right? So a lot of that stuff is, but yet they have this, you know, miserable screaming kid go in, and you're like, what do I do? I mean, you know, if those of us are parents, like fix it. I don't know. And so they give you something, and you're like, okay, I'll do it. We don't think about that it's going to take 10 years for this little gut to, you know, just so. So if that's happening in the gut, I mean, there's all these other things are coming in on the external into the skin. People are using or being exposed to or whatever. I mean, you know, there's considerations there too. So, but different probiotics are not. I mean, they're not all the same. I mean, it's hard when you go to the store. Some are refrigerated, some aren't. This one has 1 billion. That sounds good. I don't know. It can be overwhelming because there's just so many choices. But what's right for each individual, which is why we do the testing that we do, because like, well, I don't know, your body will tell us. Like, I don't have to know. Like, and which is great. Like, your body knows. We're just gonna honor that and then see if we need to move on to something else or if we stay here for a while. It just depends on the patient. So there's lots of but there's I don't know how many different probiotics like strands are out there. I don't know. Like there's like probably 24 common ones, but I don't know.
Well, then there's also ones for like women health, like if you struggle with BV or bladder infections or UTIs or whatever, like there's specific ones for like female health too, and you're like, what's the
right, yeah. But the issue is probably the biome, is probably the gut barrier. That's probably the root issue. Those are just like, because you can't keep healthy bacteria alive, then something's, you know, because normally this stuff happens, your body keeps in regulation and balance, like, I don't know how to think about it, like, right? Until it's a problem, we typically don't. And so, for how many generations, centuries have people like not known anything about bacteria in their gut, and they didn't have any of these problems, right? So it's definitely been a huge swing in the last, you know, several generations because of the food, because of its, you know, and the things that kill our gut biome or imbalance it are refined sugars and artificial sweeteners. So real food, real sweeteners like honey, agave, maple syrup, sugar in the raw, like a turbinado, demerara, or the like crystallized, you know, those are real food. The things that are stripped, like the high fructose corn syrups and the refined things, all of those sugars are just destroy the gut biome. So that's something people like, you know, if you see people, I mean, if they're coming with skin, like serious skin issues, like, you know, you got, like, just say, you gotta stop sugars and sweeteners that are not natural sources. Like, that alone will probably fix half of their problem, because they're just, you know, it's just destroying their gut biome. You can't have healthy balance if you're feeding the bad bacteria. Like, you can't kill them and feed them at the same time. Like, it doesn't happen. So you're just creating, like, the sugar monster is literally growing in your intestines. Like,
So for our clients that are on like spironolactone and Accutane and all of those things, it's like, how do you even approach that? Especially if they've been on that and it's like, we're not necessarily Accutane, but like this spironolactone that they've been on it and they're like, it doesn't help so much, or
right. Well, if it doesn't help, I would definitely get off it, because it has a lot of side effects.
Right.
Like blood pressure, it's a blood pressure medicine, right? I mean, and so people that are like bottoming out blood pressure and having and then it affects blood sugar, a couple other things. I mean, I don't like, because I mean, I don't take anybody off of meds. I'm sure like you guys don't either. But I want to figure out then that's not their issue, right? Because that blocks. What does that do? That blocks spironolactone blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an androgen blocker.
There you go. That's not their problem. If it's not working, that's not when that's their problem.
Or it's like minimally working.
Right.
And it's
It
like,
works
you've been
when
on it
that's
for
their
years.
problem.
Temporarily.
Yeah, temporarily. But using it, right, it's
Find the root cause.
using it to find, like, so in the meantime, yeah, let's have this help while we figure out, so you don't have to go around with all the, you know, I don't know, all the breakouts and things like that. But yeah, it has a lot of, I mean, that's, I mean, pharmaceuticals aren't evil, but we're using them as Band-Aids and not as fixing the problem. Like, it's not a shortage of spirulactin in their body, obviously, right? I mean, or whatever. I mean, pick anything, right? I mean, they're just like, yeah, this is a Band-Aid approach. Just like you can find other, like, you eat, like with herbals too, a lot of those are natural Band-Aids, right? There's some good things about it. Like, I heard you guys say something about ashwagandha. I love ashwagandha. It's a great herb. It is, and because pharmaceuticals are rooted in the plant, right? In the pharmacological effects of herbs. But, they couldn't grow them fast enough, so they started having to make them. And we lost a lot with it, right? We lost the ability to have more balance and control of it when they started making them in a lab. But those are temporary while you figure out what is the root causes. Oh, I use a lot of ashwagandha. I have a couple formulations that I really love for different types of adrenal stress. Now, but they have to find some things to deal with their stress, and sometimes it's situational, like they're moving or lost their job, or like there's things that you can't always control. So we use this in the season that they're in. But if this is an ongoing and there's no change potentially happening, they're gonna have to find some other outlets, whether which is collaborating with other practitioners, counseling, different trauma therapies, a gym membership. I don't know, punch something. You need to have like an outlet to deal with, like breakup. Yeah, right. Some of these things may there may be some they're gonna have to do some other adjunct type therapies involved, because while we're using this really great herb, but it's not gonna fix their life, right? And they have to do that something they have to give, usually, while we're doing it. But if they're in the middle of a cancer treatment and it's just wreaking havoc on their body, well, yeah, that's a lot of stress on your body. So we're going to do the things we can to support you through this, so that when we come out the other side, we're not just starting with a shell of a person. We can actually, from here. Mm-hmm. So herbs are a great example. And pharmaceutical, there's a purpose for them, but it's not fixing the problem.
What's your thought on essential oils?
Mm-hmm. Similar. I love essential oils. I think there's a couple of them that are really, really beneficial. A lot of them just smell really good, so it's kind of like, I'm a huge, I think lemon is great because, lemon is a food, and has huge detoxifying effects through the liver and the skin, so I'm a big fan of lemon. Lavender has some healing properties, so burns, things that are on the skin. Open wounds respond really well. Helichrysum is really great for things that are, because it constricts the vessels to stop bleeding, so it's a really good one for healing, wound healing. They have some really great properties for sure. I don't think they fix everything. I have some friends that are really knowledgeable oils and really love oils, but they're not gonna cure cancer. I wish.
Yeah.
But typically, yeah, they're I have a whole little lazy Susan. The top rung is oils in my kitchen for various things, right? So yeah, they're great. They're great, useful. Yeah.
And your tool belt.
There you go, tool belt. I don't know, what time is it? I have no idea.
10.
Oh, look at that. Other questions? I got my list of things that was interesting. Yeah.
I have a question. I'm just curious, when you're talking about cutting out certain things that you did 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say a few of the top foods were that you cut out? I know everyone's different, but what did you notice the biggest difference when you gave up a few things?
Soy and dairy.
Soy and dairy.
Yeah, and those are. I had a lot of artificial sweeteners because that's what I grew up eating, and that was a huge one for me as well. I think that's what and I see a lot now because I grew up on Diet Coke. we didn't drink water, we drank Diet Coke or or tea sweetened with sweetener. That was all I ever grew up with, yeah. And I think that that's what activated my autoimmune. My mom has like, I don't know, 7 diagnoses and counting of all of her autoimmune because she just.
Has she changed her?
No.
Wild.
Yeah.
And what was most important for the Hashimoto's? I have that.
The sweeteners.
Just the sweet.
Yeah, the sweeteners are the most important thing for me. And so I see it a lot now because, yeah, diet is no longer, as much a trend, but zero is diet. The zero drinks, like, those are all sweetener. And so for me, that was a huge, and so I feel like those sweeteners are big autoimmune activators. And so I would say that that's something that just across the board, if we, people stop spending their dollars on those things, like it won't make them anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, whole sucralose in
Yeah,
there.
my sister-in-law has Hashimoto's too, and she thinks it's all like gluten. That's her thing she's focusing on is all like gluten-free. She thinks that's what's like triggered it, but I'll have to definitely tell her.
Yeah, so I'd say gluten is not very common. Gluten is, I see gluten more as the culprit and differentiating between the true gluten protein and genetically modified flour. So this is one area that the genetic modification is a huge factor. So a lot of people need to avoid the GMO flour. They can have, organic or non-GMO flour and have no problems. Yeah, right. Or Dave's Killer Bread or whatever. Which is. But and all the things like if you want buns, you want English muffins, whatever. They have the whole thing. Like those sorts of things are that's way more common than actual gluten protein. Corn is another one worth getting non-GMO because corn is the same crop that makes your Fritos. Also, is it a grain? Is it a vegetable? Is it a sugar? Is it your gasoline? Yes, it's the same crop that they're making all of these genetically modified corn products through. So it is worth the dollars to get the little, I'm talking about the little non-GMO butterfly little deal. And the non-GMO project came about because they petitioned Congress to make foods that were genetically modified. They require them to label. And the GMO people won, so they did not have to label their food. So the non-GMO project came about as a response, where companies can voluntarily, like no one's gonna make them, but if they won't make them say we're not real, we're gonna say that we are. And so they have a great website with lots of they list a lot of their brands. So if you're looking for some tortilla that you want, you can put what you're looking for and it'll show the brands that are registered with the non-GMO project, which is a really great tool if you're really looking for something specific. So it's a great.
Where do you feel like you do most, because you live obviously locally in Owasso, but where do you feel like you do most of your shopping at that you can actually fulfill that?
Yeah, I go to a lot of places.
She's like all over town.
But I'm a food person, and so I am kind of like. So I make the rounds. I go, but there's stuff I could you can get a lot of stuff at Walmart. If you can find it at Walmart, it is mainstream in my life. If you can buy it at Walmart, Reese's has a lot of stuff. Of course, Sprouts and Whole Foods, you can pay more for it. Those are all. But Costco has a lot of things. Sam's has a lot. Especially if you know what you're looking for. Don't buy this size if you don't know if you like it. Right. Pay a little more and get the small size and make sure that you're gonna eat it or your kids are gonna eat it before you get this trough of whatever. I don't know. I'm a people watcher, so I'm fascinated by watching. No judgment, but I'm fascinated by watching people's carts. I am just fascinated in the things that they hang over the sides of them, all this. I'm like, oh, that is. I'm curious, how long is this shop gonna last you? I just do people shop? I shop every week, sometimes twice, because I like to get my meats. If I'm gonna make hamburgers, I'm not gonna buy my meat today and cook it on Friday. I'm gonna wait and get it Friday. I'm not gonna, I guess that's just me. But I'm curious how long these people shop, how long their cart is lasting. I'm just curious because I don't know how people shop. I shop every week though because I make a menu, and it's not hard. It's not complicated. I feel like this is the one tool that people would benefit exponentially if they would just do it. And there's like you can chat GPT your I want a week-long menu for a family of 4 with no soy, no dairy, that takes 7 minutes or less with few ingredients. Like you can put this in and it will give you this, like it is so like it cannot be easier. And it'll give you a menu, it'll have great manners towards you. It'll give you a shopping list. Right? I mean, it'll give you like all of these things. Like it doesn't have to be that hard. And I think like I had a guy come in. He was like, "Well, I've been working on my menu. I'm like, "What? Tell me about this menu that you're working on." He's like, "Well, I wanted 60 days of unique meals." I'm like, "Yeah, that would take me a long time too." What is your family like?
For 60 days though, like why?
Right, I don't know. I was like, let's just start with a week. Like, what's a good week? I don't know. Because I feel like we're not getting success
Start with
here.
today.
Right? We're just like,
Today.
like people they'll overthink it. Like, what is your family like to eat? Tacos? Great. Like, let's talk about that. What's a good taco seasoning? I love Kinder's. Those brand that's you can buy it at Walmart. You can buy it lots of places. Kinder's is a great brand. And they have, you can buy the big thing or you can just get the packets, start with the packets, right? Don't get the big tub if you don't, if everybody likes it. Or your family likes chili, your family you can make all of these things easily and you don't have to be a great cook. You don't, again, ChatGPT will tell you how to do it. I mean, it's easy. Like I have 2 long days. I work till 6:30 2 days a week. So everybody, I get home, everybody's hungry. Imagine that. Like they want to eat dinner every night. Every night. So I have to have a plan. Like I can't walk in at 6:30 and be like, I wonder what we should eat for tonight. Because then you're going through a drive-through. Mm-hmm. And that right there, I don't know how it is here. Owasso has every chicken place on the planet. I just thought we were getting another one. I'm like, how is that even possible? It's all fried chicken. I like fried chicken, but once a month, I don't know. None of them taste like my grandma's did, so I'm just kind of always, It's people are obviously keeping these things in business. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to be well.
My husband's just
and seriously, I have people that come in and I ask in my forms, how many times did you eat out in a week? And it's who knows if they're, we will deduct over time how upfront, honest they were in the beginning. And sometimes they just think that, how many times do I eat out? They're thinking dinner, but they eat out lunch every day, or they do takeout. That counts too. Whether you eat it at the restaurant or in your car, I don't care. Pick up food from somewhere that you did not make yourself. That's what I want to know.
A better question would be, how often do you cook your meal?
Right, yeah, that would probably be a better question. You're right. So, and again, it doesn't be cooking, but just assembling. It doesn't have to be hard. I'm a huge fan. If any of you have not tried Kevin's Natural. Okay, Kevin is our private chef. That's what we say. If we have no plan, Kevin is cooking for us tonight. It literally takes 5 minutes, right? And it's all soy-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, crap-free. It's great, right? It's easy. You buy the 2-pack at Costco. And so
I feel like everybody gets on the hardcore kick as far as brown rice or white rice, and that white rice is so bad, and so specifically just because of your here, I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, ask. Best rice is wild because the coloration in the wild rice is actually from mineral deposits. It's a way to get ideally we get all of our nutrition from our food, right? Ideally, we're not using this stuff but 90% of people do not get what they need through food. So, because they're not eating vegetables, the number one fruit. Does anybody know? Just guess. What would you think would be the number one fruit consumed in the U.S.?
Grapes.
Strawberries.
Bananas, which is the least nutritious. Higher sugar. Granted, it's natural sugar, but it's it doesn't have that much value for you compared to.
Corn doesn't have that much nutritional value.
Correct.
In
Correct.
general,
Right.
across the board.
Correct.
Even if it's
Right, yes, even if yeah, true. The number one vegetable is, I guess,
Tomato?
potato. Also, I mean, but also food has changed a lot. I mean, like I went on a trip to Ireland. The poor tour guide, the guy was like, I did not sign up for this, lady. I don't know. I asked him everything from, food and healthcare and education. The guy's kind of like,
He's like, this castle was built.
Can I take your picture? No. Anyway, he was stuck with us all week. Anyway, so I was like, how do people survive on bread and water? I need to know. Because like during the potato famine and like a third of their country died, a third of them came to the U.S. and a third of them remained, right? And there was this just devastating. Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. But they had the women in their each village. They had women that were designated as, they're called brewsters, and they were responsible for the grain and growing in these like little communal gardens. And they would have over 300 varietals of grain. So like different parts of Ireland, the bread is very dark. It's like doesn't look like our white bread with a nice crust, and like it's very dense and dark because in different parts of different seasons of the year, of course, like not a lot of stuff grows in Ireland either because it's really wet and it doesn't have. But so they would depending on the season, they would harvest the wheat that was growing and they would grind it into. So there's the coloring is that dense, mineral rich, and which is really important for giving the body what it needs for the enzymes, chemical reactions, things that have to happen. But I'm like, how do people survive? But they had 300 varietals. Like what I don't know how many we have, but certainly not, I don't know, but not compared. So when you talk about like rices and things like that, like we have really just like, they have engineered what's the most, what's the best survivor against, drought and whatever, things that attack it. I don't know, all the things that crop, but what like depletes the soil at least, like needs a, so that doesn't have a lot of nutritional value. So getting those wild things are meaning they're going to have more true to what the actual food was supposed to be. Now there are varietals of white rice that are like not genetically engineered, but not probably in our grocery store. Not easier to find. But right. When it comes to rice, you want to do wild, even though it's not. It doesn't have the sushi with wild rice is not the same. Make the exception then. But but as far as like the eating it in a regular,
I'm not a big rice person.
Yeah. But if you really want an option that's better,
everything.
It's farro. Okay. Farro is a heritage grain. It kind of looks like a chubby brown rice. It's got a nice nutty texture. And it has protein still intact, so it has the protein, the fat, and the carbohydrate, so you don't have all that stripped out. So it's actually the better. And it eats like rice. It looks like rice, like a brown rice. So people. I use chicken stock. I could just like I would cook rice on the stove.
Cool.
What do you call it? What is it?
Farro, Farro, farro. And they do have like pre-made little packets too. I mean, those exist, but it's cheap to make. Oh my god, you just buy it in the bulk. Like it's cheap. You can like batch it. You can make it and then freeze it in single serves. It's easy to do.
Do we need to? And we need
Bathroom
the
break?
restroom? Like,
Yeah,
we
let's
take
do
a
that.
quick break and then
Let's
we'll
take a
come back and do testing?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah,
that.
cool. Okay.
And we can answer